Good morning. Hi, King. Clearly dumped some of our cold water out, and we are refilling with just warm because it wasn't dirty enough from yesterday for us to completely clear the pool out, which we would use the pool pump and then maybe use some buckets. But if it's still pretty clean and it looks good, we'll just add some hot water again in the morning, because guaranteed he will make this quite dirty today. If it's the right temperature, he'll find a comfy place and sit down, but if it's not good enough yet, he's gonna get out and wait until it's correct. Today we will be answering questions that you guys put under our Facebook post. We haven't done a Q&A in a few weeks, and I figured there's always so many new questions that are also so good to it. Tiptoe is hungry today. I'm trying to keep him entertained with some romaine, but we will see how long this lasts us. He is ferociously hungry. Will Tippy get much larger? How do you know he is a he? So Tiptoe just went through a growth spurt. He has white lines between his scutes on his shell that have darkened quite a bit, so we know that that growth spurt is at least coming to an end. I'm thinking that he is at max size, maybe one more growth spurt, but I mean, he's 22 years old, so I feel like we should be getting close to the top weight. And how do we know he's a boy? Well, we used to think that he was a girl, but then when he was 10 or so, we found out one day that he was in fact not a girl. We thought that there was something very, very wrong. Turns out he's just a male, and that's natural. How did you come up with the name Tiptoe? Best name ever. Thank you. So when Tiptoe walks, he is up on his tippy toes. I just thought that was the cutest name. We had almost changed it to Stomp at one point when he was about like 10 and he had moved outside. But I'm so happy that we kept with the original Tiptoe. I feel like it just suits his personality so well. Is his neck soft and squishy? Yes. Yes, you can definitely feel the muscle, but for the most part, there's some squish to it. Does he ever get full? Okay, guys, I've only seen Tiptoe get full twice. Literally twice, where he actually left food. Granted, both of those times are when we made him a very, very large charcuterie board, so makes sense. Our guest of honor has exited the building, but he'll be back. He'll come take another turn. How big was Tiptoe when you first got him, and how long did it take to reach his full-grown size? So when I got Tiptoe, he could fit in the palm of my hand. He was tiny. He was such a little guy. He grew quite quickly, but he was very, very small. What is Tiptoe's sleeping pattern? Does he ever wake up in the evening? Tiptoe does a fantastic job putting himself to bed and waking himself up in the morning. He has 2 doors on his house that we close. There is a latch on it, but we've never actually like latched him in there. That way he can always access the outdoors if he wants to. And with that question of does he ever wake up in the evening? Not really. During the summer, he might put himself to bed at like 6:30, and then if we're doing a barbecue in the backyard or if there's a lot of noise in the backyard, he will most likely make a return. He'll come out, do a little lap, see if anybody's there to give him some lovin', and then he will put himself back into his house. He sleeps about 12 to 14 hours a night too, so he gets a very good night's sleep. Does Tiptoe have any effect on your life that you've just gotten used to, like work, dating, time with family, etc.? Seems like he's in need of constant care, and you seem like you sacrificed an immense amount of time for him, and you're such a good tortoise mom. Thank you so much. I'm curious how he affects your life. So growing up, my parents made a point to have me learn that Tiptoe was like a responsibility of mine because he was my pet. So growing up, there definitely were a few occasions where I like couldn't go do something because I had to take care of Tiptoe. I feel like that was a good lesson that they taught me though. Nowadays, kind of, but my parents are so helpful with Tiptoe, and I'm so lucky to have them be able to take care of Tiptoe on times that I might not be able to. I mean, Tiptoe is definitely a unique thing, so he has added so much to my life that he just keeps it interesting. Okay, we are going to well, alrighty then. I told you he was gonna come back. People act afraid of him. Has he ever went after / tried to bite somebody? Occasionally people will be a little bit scared of him. Most of the time it's when they're like small children and they don't quite understand what he is. And he has not tried to intentionally bite somebody or like tried to intentionally go attack somebody. I have seen him lunge at a dog, but I feel like with people, he's very tolerant, very tolerant. What kind of new adventures do you have planned for Mr. T? I'd love to see him visit places like cancer hospitals, nursing homes, etc. He brings light and smiles everywhere he goes. Love you both. Again, thank you for the comment. That's so sweet. I would love to get Tiptoe involved in more. This is a good question. Sorry that I'm getting distracted, but Tiptoe came back in the cam. I would love to get Tiptoe involved in more charitable things, such as going to hospitals, going to retirement homes, veteran homes. I feel like that is something that is right up our alley and something that I will be working on over the next few months. I feel like it's perfect time for holiday season. And like you said, I feel like Tiptoe he has a special way about him that just brings a smile to someone's face. So the more opportunities that we can take to do things like that, I love that. I am all for that. Does he wake up on his own and come out by himself? Yes. So Tiptoe will put himself to sleep typically like 5 to 6 p.m. during summer, sometimes a little bit later, and then during the winter, he'll go to bed as early as like 3 p.m. He will stay in there also until anywhere from like 7 to 9 a.m. How does he do in cold weather? Tiptoe does pretty well in cold weather. We are in Los Angeles, so it doesn't get that cold. So he will spend a lot more time in his heated house, but he tolerates it pretty well. There have been a few times where we brought him inside of our house, and we definitely don't do that too frequently. It is quite the ordeal, and he is very safe and protected in his house, so definitely makes it easier when he can stay in there. But he does pretty well in the cold. Again, we're in LA, so it's not that cold. Tiptoe makes sounds. Yes, he will fart, he will burp, he will sneeze every once in a while. He'll hiss if he's not in the best of moods. Tiptoe, are you able to feel people petting you through your shell? Yes. So Tiptoe's shell is filled with nerve endings, and he is able to feel everything, which I think is so awesome. It also is filled with a bunch of blood vessels, so if Tiptoe's shell were to get scratched or if there were to be, you know, an accident, like it does have potential to bleed too, which I just find so interesting. They're such interesting animals. Is there anything Tiptoe won't eat at all? We have a orange tree back here and a lemon tree back here, and when they drop, Tiptoe wants nothing to do with them. Citrus is not for this boy. That works out because he's not supposed to eat citrus anyways, but he's just not into it. Does Tiptoe have a special designated spot for his bathroom time? This would be awesome, but he does not. His whole enclosure is his his area. However, he does go quite frequently in his bath. The warm water does a great job in getting that digestive system going, so that is a frequent usage for the potty, but he also just goes. Does Tiptoe ever cuddle? Interested in his emotional behavior? Are you his favorite in your entire family? Tiptoe does cuddle. He will try to come up on my lap. I don't know if it's because he wants pets. It typically seems like that, but I also think that he is so used to me being the food provider that I'm very reinforcing in that way. Will you ever build Tiptoe his own backyard version of steps and a ramp? I would love to have that in the backyard for Tiptoe in the future. It is great tortoise enrichment, and I just think that that would be, he would love it. He loves going upstairs. So once I'm able to purchase a home and I can redesign the backyard for Tiptoe, I will include so many fun things like that. What is the story of when you first got him? How did he live when he was smaller? So I got Tiptoe from Santa when I was 7 years old. I put him at the top of my Christmas list. And when I got him, like I mentioned earlier, he was tiny. So I had a glass tank that he lived inside of my bedroom, and we just had the best time growing up together. It's truly so crazy to think that he's been around since I was 7 years old. Like, most of my memories are with him, and I just love it. Has Tiptoe ever gotten stuck on his back? Yes. So this has only happened once in the past 10 years, knock on wood, but he did flip himself about maybe 6 months ago. It was so just very scary because they're not supposed to be on their backs. There is potential for their organs to be crushed. They can basically just panic and exhaust themselves to death. So there's a lot of concern around that. Like I said, this isn't something that has happened to us frequently, thank goodness, crossing fingers. So we would like to keep it that way. We have a little nanny cam in the backyard too, so I check on him every once in a while just to make sure. How do you feel owning Tiptoe? You do so many different things with him. I feel amazing. I feel very, very lucky. I feel like it was definitely meant to be. Like, Tiptoe is definitely meant to be a part of my life and a part of like my purpose, because I am such a buzzy individual. I am so all over the place and so fast paced in my life, and I feel like that is where Tiptoe really balances me out. And I just think that we were a match made in heaven, huh? Did you hear me talking about you? Back to the wall to do another little stunt. Does he hibernate? So no, Tiptoe does not hibernate. He does slow down quite a bit during the winter months and he eats less, but that is also just because he's not as active. He will stay in his house a lot more during the winter. We're going on less walks, and overall he just slows down a bit. Does he actually recognize people? Yes. And I have an example of this because when he was sick last year, or a year and a half ago, my dad had to give him antibiotic injections in his arms, and obviously that is not the most pleasant experience. However, Tiptoe then remembered my dad for quite a few weeks after that and would put himself into his shell. So facial recognition, check plus. Does he chew his food, or is it chomp and swallow? Yeah, Tiptoe's typically a chomp, chomp, swallow kind of guy. He does not have time to take it easy. Has Caitlin ever considered the possibility that Tiptoe will outlive her? Hopefully they both live very long lives. Yes, it is likely that Tiptoe will live longer than I will. So the plan is that Tiptoe will go to my future children. I am not a mother yet, but in the future, of course, I will be. So the hope is that that will be the plan. Of course, there are so many different things that can happen from now until then. So we've got time, but that would be ideal. It's like a family, you know, an heirloom, living, breathing. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to our little Q&A. If you guys have any additional questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments, and we will get to making another one of these soon. We have a lot of fun activities planned over the next few months, so if you guys like this type of content, please like and subscribe, as it really supports our channel, and we will see y'all next time.